back. It has been a whirlwind couple of days across the multiple criminal cases facing the former president. Here's where things stand. In 10 days, Donald Trump will become the first former U.S. president to stand trial in a criminal case when jury selections begin in his New York hush money case. On Wednesday, the judge presiding over that case rejected the former president and current presumptive Republican nominee's effort to have that trial put on hold until after the Supreme Court ruled on his presidential immunity claims. The High Court has set a date for April 25th to hear those arguments as they relate to the former president's efforts to overturn the 2020 election. Now, that was just one legal setback for Trump in his effort to have the criminal cases against him delayed or dismissed. Yesterday, the judge presiding over his classified documents case down in Florida rejected his motion to have those charges dismissed based on the Presidential Records Act. But that trial isn't expected to start anytime soon. That decision came about an hour after the judge in his Georgia election interference case also rejected his effort to have those charges dismissed on the grounds of free speech. The start of that trial is also pending. If you're lost, I have good news. NBC News legal analyst Danny Cevallos joins us now to explain. Danny is also a criminal defense attorney. And so, Danny, let's start on the documents case. Aileen Cannon, she may have rejected Trump's motion to dismiss the case yesterday, but she also had some pretty choice words for Jack Smith. How does that bode for the special counsel there moving forward?
Not really that badly. I may be in the minority, but as you said in my intro, I am a criminal defense attorney, so I may be biased here. But when you read that order, I read Judge Cannon as actually being quite deferential to the government. When federal judges deny a defense attorney's motion, they don't spend a paragraph patiently explaining why they denied it. And that was the sense I got from Aileen Cannon's language there. Yes, she used words like unjust and other words that you could interpret as being a little harsh on the government. But at the same time, she also took some time to explain, hey, I was just kind of soliciting some ideas for jury instructions. That's not an explanation that defense attorneys normally give. But please take it with a block of salt, because I am a defense attorney. And frankly, it is rare to see the government get any flack from a federal judge. And that's because the government's really pretty good at what they do and good at filing motions.
As a civilian reader of these things, you do detect some frustration from the special counsel about Judge Cannon, though. I've seen some ink spilled on this week. Do you expect Jack Smith to try to seek the removal of Judge Cannon? How rare would that be?
It would be very rare, and I would be really surprised if the government did that. I mean, look, so far, yes, you have a judge that seems to be deciding everything against you. And I would say this to the government: welcome to our experience as defense attorneys. And again, I may be biased, but as a defense attorney, it often feels like the judge, especially federal judges who are usually former prosecutors, former federal prosecutors, they are often, at least, and again, this is just my biased, jaundiced eye, it feels like they're often ruling against the defense. But another explanation could be, this guy's guilty, so that's why he's losing all these motions. So fair enough, I get it. But look, all this is a case of Judge Cannon seems to be going a lot of times against the government, but she's also deciding some things in their favor. That, to me, is never grounds for recusal. You need some inherent fundamental bias that you can demonstrate. I see Jack Smith getting frustrated. I don't see him moving to recuse because I just don't see the grounds here.
Donald Trump loves talking about the Presidential Records Act when he talks about this case. Based on what we saw this week, can his attorney still use that as part of his defense once we get to trial, or is that now off the table?
I wouldn't say it's completely off the table. All this denial is cabined to really is saying, let's look at the indictment. The indictment controls here. Because the indictment tracks the criminal statutes, you can't get the case thrown out at this stage because the standard is so deferential. When you're talking about moving to dismiss an indictment, the judge will literally look to the statute, look at the indictment, see if the words track, and usually that's enough. I mean, there are obviously exceptions, but in this case, they don't apply. I think that's a fair reading of a judge's duty at this stage. Things change once the factual record is developed at trial. So we may see that issue come up again somehow.
All right, Danny, we're going to do a lightning round on these other cases before we run out of time. Georgia, the judge there throws out this First Amendment argument here from Trump's attorneys. Was that ever something to take seriously, or was that just a delay tactic by the Trump attorneys, do you think?
Oh, it's very much something to take seriously, especially because I think Judge McAfee is an academic type. I think he's someone who might be interested in some of these theoretical First Amendment arguments. But the biggest takeaway from me is what Judge McAfee said in his decision was essentially just because there is speech and it may be false, that can still harm the government, and that can still be a crime. Because one of the themes of the Trump defense is that false speech is okay and it can't be criminalized, which Judge McAfee seems to disagree with.
And quickly on the New York trial, April 15th, do we think that holds, or do we get this kicked down even further?
Well, in roulette terms, I've been betting black on this every single time, and that black bet is it's always going to get delayed. Now, I realize I'm probably wrong this time, but I've been right every single other time I've said that a trial date wouldn't hold. So I'm just being consistent and saying it probably won't go. But as I see it, there really isn't anything left to delay this case.
I'm with you. I've been taking the over since it's March Madness. I've been taking the over on all these trial dates. Danny Cevallos, we got to leave it there. Thank you.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.